Welcome back to Sports Extra. Now, before we move on to football, it's time now to give you the latest update regarding the Wimbledon tennis tournament, of course, the biggest Grand Slam, where the lineups are being completed as well. Of course, we talk about the fact that on the women's side, so far, we've got our first semi-final lineup completed, where we have Aryna Sabalenka, who faces Amanda Anisimova of USA in the first semi-final. And we talk about elsewhere, where we are looking towards getting the second semi-final lineup completed as well. So far, the quarterfinal is underway between Iga Swiatek, who of course leads 3-2 against Ludmila Samsonova. So of course that is also a semi-final of course lineup that might be completed from here onwards as well. And the next quarterfinal between Andreeva and Bencic, that takes place tonight as well, to get to the results. And then of course we move on to the men's side as well, and we'll give you all the updates to discuss this further on Sports Extra. We've been joined by tennis player for Pakistan on the global stage as well, acing everything that she's touching so far, Miss Mehaq Khokhar. Assalamu alaikum, Mehaq. Welcome to Sports Extra.
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmad.
Well, great to have you on the show. Mehaq, what would you like to add so far now? Of course, we've got our first semi-final lineup on the women's side completed. Aryna Sabalenka once again in the talk of the town.
Yeah, I think that match between, the one that Sabalenka just won, it was absolutely incredible. She was really taken to the very far end, and she was really tested. I think her opponent played some brilliant tennis, some brilliant grass court tennis, because, she was really slicing the ball. She was really giving Sabalenka a tough time, taking away her pace from her, giving her, slow, spinny balls, which obviously Sabalenka doesn't like. So I think Sabalenka was really tested. Her opponent played some absolutely brilliant and great tennis. We know Laura Siegmund, the German player who was her opponent. She's 37 years old. So it was amazing to see how somebody of that age could come and, compete with the world number one and give her such a tough time, in the quarterfinal match. But I think it was really, a great win for Sabalenka. And I think this will obviously grow her confidence more, because it will show her that she can play against such tricky players on grass as well and get that win. So I think her confidence will definitely be soaring high at the moment for her semi-final match.
Of course, we still are waiting for the second semi-final lineup to be completed as well. Who do you see the likely contenders over there? Because Iga Swiatek's match is still underway in her quarterfinal.
Yes, at the moment we know that Swiatek is playing against Samsonova. Samsonova is someone that we've seen can be a very tricky player to play against. She's got the strokes, she's got the serve, she's got the game. She can be very, very tough to beat on her good day, because she can be really unstoppable with her strokes, with her serve, just her entire game. But then of course we've got Iga Swiatek, who we at one point she was unstoppable in the women's tennis, and even now with her spinny forehand. And we know that generally her game is a clay court game, is more suited to clay, but I think so far at the championships she's been playing super well as well. So she is one of the contenders for the title as well. We know that, of course, in the beginning of Wimbledon, in the first week, majority of the top seeds did end up getting knocked out of Wimbledon. It was quite shocking. So everybody was talking about how there can be a new name that will lift the trophy. So now when we talk about the top seeds, we've got Sabalenka and Swiatek that are still there as the contenders to lift that trophy. So yeah, of course she's one of the favourites as well. But I think today, as long as Samsonova, if Samsonova does play her best tennis, which we have seen her play in the past, then it can be quite tricky for Swiatek as well. But right now, at the moment, we can see that it's toe-to-toe. Swiatek has gotten the break, and she is up 4-2 against Samsonova right now at the moment. Then if we talk about the other lineup, which is between, of course, Bencic, who was a former top player. Then she left tennis because she was giving birth. She became a mother. And, I think it was just a few months, maybe it's now been 15 months just after giving birth. She's back on the tour, she's back competing, and she's into a Wimbledon quarterfinal. And it's really great to see, so many mothers on the tennis tour, on the WTA tour, they give birth, they come back, and they still manage to reach the top. And we know that Bencic has that game, that she can win a Grand Slam. She can compete with the top players. She can be in the top 10. And she's proving to us that she still got it even after giving birth. And then on the other hand, we've got Andreeva, who's such an amazing young talent. She's shown us what she's capable of. She's won so many matches this year. And, she's got that fresh passion in her. She's so passionate about tennis because, of course, she's still young. She's only 17 and she wants to win every match. So I think that's going to be a really, really good match between both, those two. We've got Andreeva on one side and Bencic. So I think that's a match that we're definitely going to be looking at.
Well, certainly, and of course, it's not just an American on the women's semi-finals as well. Another American has reached on the men's semi-final. We talk about Taylor Fritz now, who's going to be up against Carlos Alcaraz with the first semi-final lineup completed.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously, Alcaraz sailed through. He was up against Cam Norrie, who was the only Brit that was left in the draw on the men's side. The only hope for Britain, and he had a pretty good run through into the, into the second week of Wimbledon. But I think Alcaraz, of course, he is currently, he's one of the best players in the world, and he is the defending champion of Wimbledon, and he just proved to be too strong for Cam Norrie. And then on the other hand, we've got Taylor Fritz, who's still keeping that American dream alive. He's one of the top players from America, one of the contenders as well. I do think that Alcaraz will be too strong for him today, but you never know. Anything can happen, of course. You can't say it's over till it's over. And we saw that in the previous match between Sinner and Dimitrov. Dimitrov was 2-0 up against the world number one, almost defeated him and then got injured. And, Sinner got that win, even though he didn't consider it a win because of the unfortunate and sad circumstances that we witnessed. But I think that's just what tennis is about. It's not over till it's over. It's not over till the very last point. But then on the other hand, you spoke about Americans within the draw, and we've also got Ben Shelton in the men's draw, who's another American hope out there. He is a former college Division I American NCAA champion, and now he's playing some brilliant tennis on grass as well. He's going to be up against Sinner, so that's going to be a pretty good matchup as well. I think Ben Shelton has gotten some hope from the previous match that Sinner played, because we know Grigor Dimitrov is one of the most talented players on tour, and he was about to defeat the world number one. And I think everybody kind of sees Sinner as somebody who is unbeatable, and they think that only Carlos Alcaraz can beat him. But I think now maybe Ben Shelton's mind has opened up a bit, and he probably thinks, oh yeah, maybe I can, defeat Sinner as well. Maybe he's gotten that belief in him. And we did see that Sinner I think maybe he's being troubled by a bit of an injury as well, where, his forehand speed and his serve speed has gone down a notch because of that. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see once their match is on, whether he's feeling troubled or not. But I think for Americans, it's been a pretty good run in the men's half, because they do have two Americans still standing there.
Well, final thoughts would be about Novak Djokovic. Once again, continues to defy everything that is, said against him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 38, still looking strong. And actually, a lot of people are saying that this is probably like one of his best shots to get another Grand Slam under his belt, to reach 25. I mean, it's just absolutely brilliant what he's doing still at this age. And I think he kind of gives a lot of other players hope. We saw, we can see a lot of veterans still in the draw. We saw even Marin Cilic, who's like a former Wimbledon finalist. He's also, he also reached the fourth round. And, even though he was coming back from major surgery, major injury, he's also 36. So, I mean, you see all these veterans in the draw, and you feel like, they're still fighting their way through to kind of, and I think they probably take inspiration from Djokovic as well, because he's still one of the top contenders in every single tournament he plays, in every single Grand Slam he plays. He is still one of the best players out there, who's still, he's basically just completely washing away all the young generation. And, he's standing there tall, competing with Alcaraz and Sinner, who are way younger than him, obviously. But I think today's going to be a good match, obviously, for Djokovic as well. He's up against actually the Italian player Cabelli. Cabelli, I think that's how you say his name. It is his first quarterfinal, and he actually defeated Marin Cilic in the previous round. So it's going to be very exciting for the young Italian to come and play his idol. He calls Djokovic his idol. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see. We see that there's a lot of Italians coming up, a lot of Italians in the draw. Jannik Sinner, the world number one, also being Italian. So it is a great time for Italy and their tennis players. But it's just going to be brilliant to see what Novak Djokovic can do with another young tennis player up against him.
Well, certainly. Thank you very much, Mehaq Khokhar, for joining us and your analysis on the Wimbledon. That was tennis player Mehaq Khokhar who gave her analysis. Wimbledon's tennis tournament as well. I think it's just been superb with the semi-final lineup now getting final shape as well. Still a couple of names in contention to qualify for the semis, both on the men's and women's side, but it's going to be very, very interesting.